What's good? You're watching Daniel and Gian talk shit, the Game of Thrones episode 2 edition. I'm Gian.
And I'm Daniel.
And, well, today's Monday afternoon here in sunny Los Angeles, California, although it's a bit overcast outside. And Game of Thrones episode 2 came out last night. And I'm just gonna start off with. I was kind of side hustling. I didn't hear exactly what you said. Ear hustling, excuse me. But I feel like you are not in the same mindset when it comes to last night's episode as everybody else is. How'd you feel about it?
I liked it for the most part. I didn't particularly care for the last battle thing, though.
Really?
I thought the battle was cool. I thought the action was great. Not commenting on the production value or anything like that. I just don't. It involved characters I don't care about. And not to mention,
that's a key part of episode 1, though. Like he says, I'm gonna give you a gift.
Sure, I get it.
A gift, an impossible gift.
I get it, but I'm just saying
that's the only reason why. And I knew it was either going to be Tyrion or the Sand Snakes.
It just proves how worthless they are.
Well,
to the story, because all they get, they're just plot devices, more so than anyone else, I think. Because they only show up to progress the story forward. They don't have no character development. There's no dimensionality to any of them. They're all one-dimensional. They all talk about stupid shit. When they were talking in the boat, the sisters, they were talking about who's going to do what on the throne. Like, who the fuck cares at this point? Like, really? You're going to be, that's what you care about? Like, that's so, like, cookie-cutter bullshit.
Well, I kind of feel like they're showing how young they are, too. In the book, the characters are very young. They're teenagers, and I think they're supposed to be playing teenagers in this one as well.
Okay, and I can accept that.
There's a bit of immaturity there.
I can accept that as a valid response, but the only thing they ever talk about, they can't be that young because they basically have used their bodies for manipulation.
Well,
so they're not.
It's a different time, man. Like,
I'm just saying.
It's a different world where 15-year-olds are having sex with grown-ass men. It's not. I wouldn't be out of the ordinary for me to believe that. You can't look at them as like a millennial teenager now versus whatever's going on with them in whatever world they're in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
What about the mother?
That didn't bother me that much.
The mother?
I mean, I knew they were going to be involved in some point because Dorne is an ally to the to Khaleesi.
I get that they're significant in the books and in the overall story.
Dorne is significant,
but they haven't done shit.
I mean, they killed what's her face? Dude, that's pretty big.
It's pretty brushed over though.
Okay, if they're not a central part, but they are part of Cersei's character. They are part of Cersei and Jaime's story,
which should never be. That's a cop out, 100%.
I don't know if it's a cop out, man. I mean, it didn't bother me enough to ruin the episode for me.
No, it didn't. No, it did everything I wanted it to do. It was progress the story forward. 100%.
How long of the episode was it? 5 minutes? You know what I mean?
No, it was like 10. But I'm not saying that. I like this episode way better than the premiere episode, 100%.
I mean, I thought it was fucking great. It was a great episode.
This is me nitpicking. This is really what it is. I mean, I just don't like the characters.
Okay, so don't start the fucking the reaction video with the nitpicky shit. Like, you didn't even jump into the meat and potatoes. You're still talking about the fucking garnish on the side of the steak.
Well, it's a waste of time.
I don't know if it's a waste of time. I'm not going to agree with you on it being a waste of time. I think it's
collectively been a waste of time.
I mean, they are the leaders of Dorne right now because they killed the Dornish king.
It was a waste of time. They've done nothing. If this is the last time because obviously we don't know what happened to the queen. She's probably got captured, not dead, right? And then Yara, I don't know if she's dead or not. I don't know if that was her hanging on the boat.
See, if I'm going to have an issue with the episode, it was why all of a sudden did Theon go fucking coward again?
He got triggered.
You know what I mean? But it's kind of like...
I believe that more than anything else.
We were getting out of there. It was just... for me, it was just kind of like out of nowhere.
Because that means...
Like he was scared to fight his uncle, or was looking at the odds?
No, I think he got triggered by all the brutality around him. When you think about the context of the story, the shit with Bolton just fucking happened.
Right.
Like, it just happened. It's still fresh. Obviously, a lot of time has passed for you and me since then, but in the story, that shit just happened. So, I mean,
what's the significance of them in the Iron Island, though? I mean, the Iron Islands, the uncle, But that's also a plot
It
device
just
because I
sets-
feel like their two characters aren't that important.
It sets up the ultimate redemption story for Theon because if Yara
But what if you don't get that story?
Assuming Yara's not dead, because I'm assuming she's not because of this, Theon would be the one to save her or to sacrifice his life for someone else, like something like that. Where because obviously they can't just leave him a pussy. They just can't.
Now, my issue with that is he just did that.
Sure.
He literally just did that. He sacrificed himself to save Sansa.
But maybe he's not 100% there, obviously, as it shows.
You know, and he was starting his character. He was a prick at the beginning, and now that he doesn't have a dick, you know.
Maybe Gendry's going to find him.
Is that
And
you think that's going to be a callback to Gendry?
Gendry's going to be rowing on the open ocean.
I don't know.
And
All
he's
I'm
gonna
saying is that little segment was like, and it didn't bother me, but I'm saying if I'm going to nitpick, that bothered me more than the Sand Snake thing. Like,
I just don't like how Dorne has been utilized.
I feel like you don't
from
like.
the get.
Okay, so
other than
you don't like the Dornish shit
other
at
than
all.
what's his name, when he fought the Mountain, like his character in Westeros was good.
It was a good character.
I liked.
But how did that advance the story forward as well?
It. What do you mean? How did it advance the story?
How did it advance the story?
He's connected with Tyrion.
Okay.
But how did it advance the Dornish story? Well, it set the story in motion for Dorne. It was after that. It was the handling of the post.
And what I'm telling you is that Dorne has been such a tiny part of this entire thing, and it's
up until that point,
it's been completely used as a vehicle to advance
which is
other
unfortunate.
people's storylines.
I have not read the book, but everyone has told me that Dorne is way more thought out, utilized, and what's the word I'm looking for? Developed in the books.
Well,
obviously, it's a book. I get it. I completely get it.
And we got to remember, dude, we have like 19 million different storylines going on. So someone's got to get sacrificed at some point for television.
And all I'm saying is it's unfortunate that it was that.
I don't know. It didn't bother me that much. I liked the episode last night. I thought I had a good time throughout. I got excited. That battle at the end got me excited.
It was unexpected.
You know?
It's actually what I expected more. This episode was moving at the pace that I wish the first one was, because this one didn't feel like a waste. I'm actually disappointed, though, I will say, and this isn't nitpicking. I wish it was going to continue the thread of like checking in with each of our heroes every week. Mm-hmm. Like I want to know about Bran more than anything else.
Right.
Like it's really irritating at how he's pieced out so fucking sparingly. And I understand why, because
I
if you
feel like
show,
he's been pieced out the entire fucking show.
No, that's what I'm saying. And I've always hated that. But at the same time, if you were to reveal what he knows, the show would be fucking, you have to. I get it. It's just really frustrating. It sucks. Melisandre's back, like I said. You thought she was gone, and she fucking shows up coincidentally. But that was interesting.
At this point, I don't know what purpose she serves.
She's a red priest.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. I'm
Well,
kind of
even Daenerys said, like, the red priest treated me well over there, so, like, you're welcome here.
Right.
I wrote notes, though, actually, for that scene in particular. I mean, we can talk about other things, but I want to talk about something very particular in that scene. Okay. And I want to know what your opinion is. So, Azor Ahai, like, the whole theory behind, like, who the knight, the one that was promised.
You talking about the translation thing?
Yes. Okay, that's what I want to talk about. Since the beginning of Forever, like in the books and blah, 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 it's a dude. Yeah. It's a prince. It's not prince or princess. So I want to ask two questions. First, do you think they change that to be with the times and contemporary with the whole gender neutral shit? That's my first question. Second question is, let's just start with that, actually.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it, yes.
So what's your opinion on that?
I mean,
that was my second question.
I think they handled it pretty good. I feel like if you're going to say who the heroes of the show are right now, it's definitely Daenerys and it's definitely Jon Snow. Those are our two heroes.
A Song in Fire and Ice.
Those are the two. Yeah. One is a dragon. The other one's was on the wall. Just think about it. Name questionable things either of them have done. They've both been pretty straightforward.
Didn't Daenerys like murder all the slavers?
She murdered all the slavers, but if you think about it in context, it wasn't evil.
No, murdering is evil.
She was.
I'm just saying,
you talk about something completely different.
But Jon Snow's also decapitated people too.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
I get it. I understand.
It's not murder in the Ten Commandments sense.
Right.
It's them doing their job as
vengeance.
leaders. They haven't done anything morally questionable. as everybody else has done. I mean, they're the only ones still alive. Like everybody else that was. I mean, even Catelyn Stark did some morally questionable shit.
Yeah, no.
You know, but Robb Stark didn't. You know.
Okay, so then my second question actually was more along the lines of like, do you believe that, basically, do you think that, like, not talking within the context of the show, but do you think it was appropriate to even do that? Like, do you think they even needed to do that?
I don't think they. I don't think they needed to do the little play on words, but they kind of used it in a way where, you know, they used it for her to like not trust the Red Priestess for a second, and then her servant stepped in and said, "Actually, it doesn't really mean it's genderless."
There's no blah, blah.
That was such a minor little note too. Like I didn't
see that shit irritated me. I'm sorry, it does, because, and here's why it's irritating to me. And I'm gonna come off as a misogynist, whatever. I'm sure I don't give a fuck. But if you're gonna, obviously this is a made up world. Okay, we both can agree that it's made up, but it's based on historical medieval times. Okay, if there was a prophecy, it's gonna be fucking male.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care who the fuck you are. You can fight me on this. It's gonna be a dude. Does that mean it's right? No, but that's what was written back then.
I'll give you that. And so
Jesus
far,
was not a fucking...
every leader that's been referenced in the show has been male.
100%. There was no mistake here is what I'm saying. I guess what I'm...
No, I don't think it's a mistake at all. I think it was done on purpose for sure.
Just for this and not from like George R. R. Martin. Like, I don't think he's going to make that, like, add that to his books.
Well, how much of a part of it do you think is it, you know, Daenerys being such a popular character?
I don't think it has to do with anything like that.
You don't think it has to. You think it has to?
I think the show has come under fire from women so much.
You think it's an SJW thing?
100%,
and not a character thing.
100%.
Okay, maybe. I'm not going to dispute that. There's probably something there to it.
Is it a problem? Like, it exists. Am I going to fucking hate on the show and say I'm never going to watch it? No, absolutely not. But it definitely like stuck out to me. Like, really? But at the same time, if you were unaware of any of this, it'd be perfectly fine. So I do believe they handled it well.
Right.
They harped on it a little too long. Like, they could have just said there's no, like, it could be a guy or a girl, because whatever. That's basic. But then she said, like, in our language, in the old Valerian, it doesn't have, like, they went and literally repeated things that I've heard other people say about gender pronouns. That's what bothered me.
In the book, it's also two people, isn't it? It's a guy and a girl who saved the world.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was like a man and a woman. Or maybe I'm taking that from Melisandre last season.
But you understand my point, though.
No, I get it.
And it's not a big thing that, like, it's a big deal. It's not a game breaker, but it did, like, stick out to me on an otherwise pretty good episode. That was one of the things. I wrote some things down.
How did you feel about the Jon Snow Sansa meeting in front of all the heads where he like relinquished his power to Sansa?
Well, I thought immediately, like, well, that was easy. Like, we didn't have to spend a whole season for that to happen.
Right.
Like, okay, he relinquished it. I'm curious because he's obviously gonna go down south. They show that in the little like teaser for next week.
He's a reluctant leader. He
doesn't want it. He even said, I don't want it. But here's the thing, though. This is what I'm thinking. When he comes back, I don't know how he's going to come back, when he's going to come back, how that's going to all work out. But he's going to come back at some point. He's not going to die again. That's one of the things about him dying already.
But I don't know if he's going to even want to take back the power.
Well, well, if he wants it back,
I think he's going to
be allowed to have it back.
No, because then Sansa, if we want to get technical, Sansa's a direct bloodline because he's a bastard.
Well, at some point they have to reveal that he's a Targaryen.
Yeah, even then.
Well,
that's going to happen. What they've done, though, is they've established that his character, the only thing that he's worried about is the greater good.
Except for one thing, though. And this is something that George R. R. Martin's commented on, and we're seeing it in the show for the first time. George has said, if I'm going to kill a character, he said the worst thing that Lord of the Rings did is they killed Gandalf and they brought him back as basically the same fucking person.
Right.
He didn't change. And he said he wanted to do that differently with Jon. Because when he comes back, it's a different person. Same with fucking the other dude, the dude with one eye.
Yeah.
Like every time he comes back a different person.
Yeah, it changes the character a little bit.
Right. And so my thing is, I feel like when he choked Littlefinger, that was the first time he's ever aggressive.
Right.
In any way.
Right.
That's really like about protecting his family, but he just had a different look on his face. It was a moment.
I think he's definitely a bit darker. He's definitely not going to put up with shit like he did before, you know. But I think that character change started happening when he executed the brothers that that tried to take him down.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
You
a little.
know?
I'm glad. I hope they continue on that path. Is my thing. It's like, because at the end of the day, I'm going to continue to say it. Littlefinger has no value anymore now.
I'm actually I'm wondering what they're doing with Littlefinger this season. That's one thing for sure. I'm like, okay,
He's too passive the first two episodes.
is he like what is he plotting and what can he plot?
Exactly. What does it even matter
Yeah.
anymore? That's my thing.
Everybody's on to him, but
It has to come out next week with Sansa.
Right.
Like, clearly he gave her a look at the end of the episode.
what if they kill Sansa?
And he takes over? Or who's they? Who's the they?
No, what if Littlefinger figures out a way to get Sansa killed? I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, nobody's safe when that guy's around.
It's
He's
true.
been behind almost everybody's death so far in the show.
Yeah. I mean, even around Ned, like the people you would think would be safe. So it's an interesting.
He's the reason why Ned died.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. Like, there's still a lot of things to question about, which is good. But at the same time,
We're not 100% sure where this is all going.
exactly.
Other than we know that the White Walker.
I mean, this week was a curveball.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about what I had showed you earlier. I showed Gian a picture. I'll put it up. Like, the difference between the opening credits from last year to this year. Last year, every time it showed the wall, and every year previous to that, it would show the wall, and then there was an ocean, seas around it. Well, apparently, I didn't notice this because I usually skip the intro on HBO Go.
Yeah, I always do.
But apparently, not everyone does, because if you look at the wall, and again, I'll show this on the video, the seas are starting to freeze around the fucking wall, which I personally think is a cool little tidbit, but it sucks story-wise because I wish they would blow the wall down somehow.
We also know that's impossible. Salt water doesn't freeze, but that's another story in itself.
How do you know, bro? That's how cold it is. Yeah. It is supposed to be that cold.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the contents of Westeros oceans are.
Maybe it's not salt water.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's sugar water. And people can't cross it because they get diabetes.
It's fucking soda. It's just flat soda.
And it could freeze, yeah.
All right, so you were the only person on the planet that didn't love Arya's scene last week. What did you think of her scene this week?
It made me like the scene even more last week.
Okay.
It made me it changed my mind on the scene from last week because story-wise, you needed that in-between moment. Okay, hold on. Let me take a step back. Within the whole season, the first scene that I didn't like last week is actually going to turn out to be a good one. In the context of the episode, not without the whole story, it falls flat. But the reason why I say that is we know she's going to the key, kill Cersei. That's her point. So she runs across Ed Sheeran and all this fucking gang, right? Again, they're supposed to be nice, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's basically a way of confronting Arya with like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? They're not all bad people. And she still pushes forward, right? And then in this episode, with her and her wolf, Nymeria or whatever it's called, it's that moment where she said, what's the line? She says something like, that wasn't you, or that's not me, or that's not you.
That's not you.
That's not you.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like, the wolf is different, she's different, and now I don't know if she's going to go see Jon. Well, obviously she can't see Jon, but I don't think she's going to. I think she's going to go.
The wolf is going to make her change her mind to go to.
I think that's already happened. I think when
she's
she
already
said
going to turn
that's-
back around because she already decided she was going to Winterfell.
I think that was the final test, and she came face to face with herself. I think the wolf is supposed to be her, and the fact that the wolf didn't want to come with her is basically showing like, you know what? I need to do my own thing.
Right.
Like, I don't need a pack. I don't need a family. I haven't had one for however long. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's not you. That's not you to come with me. And so it's not me to go with them. I think she's going to turn back. Genuinely.
That's some deep thinking there. If it doesn't happen, how are you going to feel? If she still goes to Winterfell next episode, how is that going to make you feel?
I don't know. I just don't know where my biggest problem with this show since the very beginning is I just never know truly where these characters are at. Like,
right.
When they're in King's Landing, you know they're in King's Landing. But when they're off in the forest or the Riverlands, or like, unless a character references, it's just a fucking forest.
Yeah, there's a lot of in between land that we don't know.
So I don't know where I don't know how. Maybe she's right at Winterfell's door.
Right.
And in that case, maybe her going to Winterfell would make sense because she's right fucking there. But if she's fucking hundreds of miles away still.
Now, what did you think of the Jorah Mormont scene with Samwell Tarly?
What about like him cutting the grayscale off, or like him going to that effort to try and save him that much?
Him trying to save him. I mean, it's like I thought it was cool, but at the same time, I'm wondering like, why is Sam pushing the limit so far?
I think
right
that's
now,
I think that's going to be. I think Jorah's going to get cured in some capacity, and then he's going to get in trouble with the Citadel. But I feel like there's going to be something where they're going to look at what he did and like allow him to study or do like that's his. Basically, it's his balls out move.
Yeah, well, he's like the rebel, whatever.
But they brought his father back.
They did. I know what's that going to play into it too? Because that's the other thing I noticed. I was like,
And they made sure
they drew a line in the sand. Jaime Lannister drew a line in the sand, and right now House Tyrell is split in half.
Yeah,
half of them are going to go after with Olenna, half of them are going to go with the Lannisters, and I think wondering what the significance is and if it's going to relate to Sam at all.
I don't know. I mean, Sam still has that sword,
right?
The family sword, and which is Valyrian steel.
Yeah.
So like. I have no idea. I don't know if he's going to march. Like, I don't know the head state of the father or the brother because I think the brother was there too.
This is a brand new storyline now.
100%. I'm interested in it. Like, I like Sam 100%. Like, I hope, I was glad to see that the Raven actually was sent within an episode as opposed to like, oh, the White Walkers are here. I just got a note from the Raven that the blah, blah. Like, no, I'm glad that like, I'm really glad at the pace 100%. I just want more. When you see something good, you just want more.
Do you think Jon Snow is going to bend the knee?
That I don't know. That I don't know.
That was an interesting little conflict there. Like, why?
Because it wasn't necessary to be added, quote unquote. They could have not written that, but the fact that they added that extra layer of tension of being of it.
And it shows Daenerys is not necessarily like on board with Jon Snow.
No, and I'm just curious, like. Because no one knows that Jon's a Targaryen other than Bran.
Right.
And it's not even really confirmed that he knows that Jon's a Targaryen yet because he hasn't even commented on it.
Right, so we don't know if he's put two and two together.
Exactly.
He just knows that Ned is... that he knows that's not his brother.
Yes, that's what he knows.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing. It's just like, okay, well, at what point is that going to be revealed?
Right.
Or is it ever going to be revealed? Because if it is revealed, Jon has claim to the throne over Daenerys. He's a male.
You think that's... We've already established she could be a queen, though.
I agree, but he's a male.
And she is technically above him because that's his... Jon Snow is her niece, or nephew, excuse me.
But isn't it male first?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's male first back in the feudal times. And like those times, it was like male first regardless of like...
So then why isn't Jaime Lannister the king?
Because of story.
Well, also
I think he was a hand. I mean, wasn't he? It wasn't when you're a hand, you can't be a king.
I take that back because now the other issue that is he is not like married in. Cersei's married in through Robert Baratheon, and that's why. And then he has no kids left because they're all dead. In actuality, the only person that has a claim is Gendry.
Yep, he's gonna come back, bro. I'm telling you,
he's gonna come back. If this show ends and Gendry's the king of the seven, of Westeros, I'm gonna be pissed.
If Gendry was revealed to be the Night's King or the White Walker, the main White Walker, I'm
gonna ask how the fuck did he get that rowboat all the way up there? like didn't you say you didn't know how to row your boat? And you made it all the way the fuck up to the wall. He just kept
rowing, bro. He didn't know. He's going to be fucking juiced. Like, if he's alive, he better fucking look
it's
like
going to be
jacked.
Shredded.
No, he skipped leg day. Like, he has no legs, and he's just fucking jacked.
All upper body.
But I overall, like, it's...
Do you think Cersei's gonna marry the Iron Islands guy? Euron. Is it Euron?
Euron. I don't know. We'll see. And I'm glad you brought that back up, though. What bothered me the most about that last scene... It's nothing. I got on the sand snake shit for whatever reason, but that's not even what was really bothered me about it. You set up this whole plot device around the Greyjoy fucking navy and blah blah blah, and I totally understand the scene was to show how dominating the real navy is, like the real Iron Navy. Like I get it, I 100% get it. But so what now? They're all dead now. So all the Greyjoys are dead. So that's it. Literally, Euron and Theon are the only two. Euron's people and then Theon are the only
Targaryen left that we know of is Khaleesi, is Daenerys. I mean, it's not...
And Jon.
And they made reference, that we know of. Like, we know, but the rest of the world doesn't know. There's only one Targaryen left. There's only two Greyjoys left. If he kills Like that was bothering me. That he didn't. Why didn't he slit her throat? I was waiting for him to slit her throat.
That's the present. He's going to show up and say, "Look, this is my sister. I'm willing to kill my sister for you."
Well, my niece.
Oh, Theon's his sister.
Yeah.
That's, well, you know what? Family, regardless.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said sister, but yeah, family. Like, this is my family. This is my blood. Look, because she's the queen, technically.
Yeah.
Right? She's the queen. She won that whole contest shit.
Well, no, but he's the king because
he killed, what's his name?
Because his brother's dead, so he is the oldest male. So we're gonna go by your bloodline. He's the oldest male bloodline in the family, so that it's rightfully his, the throne. And they drowned him, and he came back to life. So he's the king of the Iron Islands. She left.
I'm misremembering things.
Well, he took off because she knew they had no power anymore.
That's what it was. Okay,
So
I'm like taking a million different things at once.
I mean, it's
here.
definitely making him a big dog.
Oh, he's for sure.
Yeah, he's a huge dog now.
And I really, the thing I liked the most about the scene is I know for a fact, because people have told me about this, that like Euron is a bigger part of the books than it, because he's an actual like pirate.
Right.
He's like a feared pirate. I think even in the books he came across like all this Valyrian shit and like has dragon, like he has all this shit that they need because he just fucking plunders everything. But I like that they showed that in this movie.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know where these fucking flame rocket shits were coming from though, because they didn't show that. But you know, that were lighting all the boats on fire.
Yeah.
But that one boat that just fucking annihilated all the other ones.
Now we're talking about the scene again. One issue I did have was, and you actually brought it up.
It's too dark?
No, not that it's too dark, but it's another time where we don't know exactly where everybody's at.
Yep.
Because I was waiting for the dragons to come out. I was waiting for like backup to come out for the Greyjoys, and nothing happened. So how far off of Dragonstone were they? How did the people in Dragonstone not realize that there was an attack going on? There's a siege going on.
So they must have been deep. They must have.
And why were they headed somewhere? Were they headed back to Dorne? I'm not sure. Like,
they explain at the beginning where they're all going.
At the
very beginning, when the little table meeting, they explain.
Yeah, when they're breaking off, when Tyrion says that the Dothraki and the
they're gonna go
Sully
do this,
are gonna go take over Casterly Rock, which I thought was cool. Like that's like, oh shit, because no one's ever tried to siege Casterly Rock, or if they had, they didn't succeed.
Which they're going to succeed, and
because there's nobody there,
and that's what Daenerys. That's why I think they're going to bring out the niece to search, because I think that's the theme, is like family, just being able to sacrifice your quote unquote family for like your cause, like because Tyrion has no problem killing the rest of the Lannisters, because they're not his family.
No, definitely not.
They've never treated him so he has no problem going and murdering those motherfuckers, and then Euron has no problem killing Yara because she's in the way, and I'm surprised that he didn't let Theon get killed somehow.
Yeah.
Like he kind of just let him go, as opposed to like, no, they could have fucking I don't know if they have bows and arrows, but like they could have easily killed that motherfucker if they wanted to. But it's another one of these themes that like the family always gets wiped out.
But there's like a battle between Euron and what's her name again? I can't remember.
Yara?
And Yara. But Yara's character has just never been built up enough to make it like important for me for her to die.
Because she just showed up. And then she was like,
but once
cool
again,
for the rescue, and then she disappears.
Once again, I'm wondering why the Queen of Dorne was on the boat with him, and where were they headed?
Well, she's going to also get taken to King's Landing now.
But they were supposed to go to King's Landing already with the Tyrells. That was the plan. The Dornishmen and the Tyrells.
Where are the Tyrells?
Where are the Tyrells in this? That's why this scene is kind of weird. Like and maybe they said something and I just completely forgot. I have to rewatch it. And if you guys are watching, you can leave a comment and let us know what we're missing.
I think the Tyrells were going to King's Landing.
Right, but the Tyrells and the Dornishmen were supposed to go to King's Landing together.
I don't know then. I don't know. It does, because isn't fucking, I don't know. It's just, it's because I wish there was an app where you could like, okay, they're in this part of the world. Like you can literally just check in and see.
Right.
I mean, because you don't really need to know where they're at truly, but it does fucking help. It does like I haven't watched. I don't know if they did a season 2 of the new game after the Game of Thrones. Like the recap show. But in the
they did. Maybe I should watch that. But it's
I haven't
only like
seen it in
3 minutes of.
No, it's like no. It's like it's called After Thrones or something. Like it's like a.
Yeah, it's only like 5 minutes where they explain the storylines of this episode. Is it?
Yeah, it's
they did one yesterday. They did one for episode 1, but it was only like 5 minutes long.
You know, Walking Dead. How they have
Talking
Dead. They have a Talking Dead.
Oh, where it's like a panel,
and it's like Game of Thrones. Last year they did it.
That.
And but in in those episodes, they do like, oh, they're here and they're here. Like they literally will pinpoint on the map where they're at.
Right.
I haven't seen. They've done a season for this new season. I haven't seen it yet, but like that's the new thing. It's like Talking Dead style shows.
Okay.
But I mean, I like it. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. To be honest with you.
So
but,
do you have predictions for episode 3?
John's going to meet Daenerys. That's my prediction.
That's a shitty prediction. Let me ask you a better question. What do you think is going to happen to the Queen of Dorne once she gets to King's
She's
Landing?
going to get murked.
Or do you think that's going to happen next episode?
I think she's going to get murked. I think it's probably going to be next episode. I think her head's going to be sent to fucking Sansa.
I'm gonna say she's not gonna die.
Or
she's not gonna die, but they're gonna kill her daughter in front of her the same way. Like Cersei's gonna let her live, knowing that she killed her kids. Like, you know, you killed my kids, I'll kill your kids, your daughter, because that's the last. Because she knows the other. She's gonna find out that the other 2 daughters are dead.
Yeah. No, it could. I just my predictions are more along the lines of like I think next week. I think next week is our first like actually long episode,
right?
Like the extended one. I think we're gonna see White Walkers next week. I think we're gonna see Bran, and I think some shit's finally gonna go down because when you think about it, 7 episodes this season.
You mean more shit's gonna go down?
More shit's gonna go down. I think hard home level shit's gonna go down next week. That's my prediction. Just because this is almost the halfway point of the season,
right?
Realistically. In 2 weeks. I mean, so episode 6 would be the episode 9 of the, you know,
right.
But they've proven that they're willing to go outside of that whole episode 9 being the most crazy episode. Mm-hmm. They've done it for the last few seasons. So I genuinely think this next episode is going to be I don't know about the best one, but it's going to be better than these last 2 for sure.
Well, if every episode gets better, I'm on board.
No, it's going to be good.
Great. So before we wrap this up, I got a question. Is HBO not the fucking smartest company out there?
In what regards?
They're pairing Game of Thrones on the same night that Ballers came out, and what's the one?
Insecure.
Insecure. They put them all together on the same night. So I'm assuming that a bunch of people watch those episodes that normally wouldn't. Because
well, when you have a hot ticket like that, I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't know what comes on. Well, Talking Dead comes on after Walking Dead, but like AMC doesn't have any shows that you could throw hitters. I mean, HBO is a different animal.
Yep.
Just because, I mean, they're not Netflix. Like, arguably, you can say Netflix has the best because they can just throw all the content in the world out there. Mm-hmm. But in terms of actually scheduling content, it's what you got to do. I mean, that's literally what network televisions have done for years.
Yeah.
You know, when The Office was the most popular show, whatever came after The Office, it's just like Super Bowl. Whatever comes after
Parks and Rec was on the same night as
that's what, you know, that's why NBC was killing the comedy game for a while. But
so I mean, next week we might talk about Ballers and Insecure if we have time on the actual podcast. This week is a shortened week. Got a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna have another podcast that's up from a couple weeks ago because nothing to do with what we're talking about today. But if you like this video, if you don't like this video, if you were neutral about this video, you could check out some other videos over here.
Hit that subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell. Hit that like button. And leave us some comments. We love interacting with you guys. We're pretty fast about it. So see you next week for the next episode of Game of Thrones.